Okay. So what we'll look at next is we'll look at find. So I'll click find. Now what this does is this searches for people that are already in Family Tree. Now this does not necessarily mean that they're in your family. They're just in Family Search in the tree, in Family Tree somewhere. So this could be people that are related to you, unrelated to you. You could just search for them. So if I wanted to find to see if there were any Bobs in Family Tree, I'll type in Bob. I'll go to the bottom and click find.
But there won't be any. Oh.
Let's see. There's only 2,000 Bobs. Now say, well, I don't want to look through 2,000 Bobs. So I'm going to click refine and I'll say, how about all the Bobs that are female? That should limit it heavily. So how many female Bobs do we have? We've got still 2,000, but so there's still a lot of female Bobs. But you can add as much information as you want. You can add any one event, father, mother, spouse's names. And then if you need to, you can click the advanced search and add even more information. Usually though, if you're looking for someone, you put their first and last name and either like a spouse or a parent, it'll come right up with the exact one you're looking for. Okay. So this, knowing how this works becomes helpful if you're trying to add someone to your family tree. Okay. So I'll show you, let's look at doing that. So I'm going to go back to my tree and I'm going to go to the end of the line. So this one right here, because Lutetia Owens' parents I know, but not her grandparents. Okay, so here I'm at the end of my line and I want to add the husband. Maybe I found a record that shows who Albert's parents are. So I could click add husband. And then this is the same sort of a screen. You're doing a search. So I'll type in Bob again. And then I'll search for Bob. And now what it's going to do is it's going to show me all the Bobs that come up. And it's going to show me their spouses. Okay. And then if I were to click add couple, then it would add that couple to the screen as Albert's parents, and it would automatically add all of their ancestors as well. So it's adding everything. Okay. Now, say you look through this whole list and you get down to the very, very bottom and you haven't found your Bob anywhere. Okay. At the very bottom, there's this button that says add new. So if you've looked through everything and you haven't found the person you're looking for, then you click add new. And then you fill out the information and it'll create a new person in Family Tree. So, but you want to make sure you look through all of the results it gives you first, because you don't want to create a duplicate. And we'll talk about what a duplicate is and why you don't want to create one later. But you want to make sure that if the person's already created in Family Tree, that you connect with that instead of creating a new one.
Okay. Now, you went to the end of your line and you said you didn't know anybody beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
So did you just pull out a name by random?
Here I did.
To do it.
Yeah. Usually what you would do is if you're looking to expand your line, you're going to need to do some research, find a census record, a birth certificate, and that's where you're going to get your names. Okay. Yeah. I just put in Bob just for the sake of showing you how to do it.
You check that also if you're printing that.
If you print it, I'll show you how to print it, and it's not going to print from here.
Well, what I'm saying is, if you don't want what you're printing to show temple ordinances, is that what you would do?
No,
okay.
No. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay. The other thing is, if you don't want to see your family's pictures, maybe you think all your family is really ugly looking and you don't want to see their pictures, you can uncheck the box next to portraits. It'll get rid of all the pictures. And then the last one, marriages, it'll remove the marriages. Okay. Now the very last one, this invert colors one, if you don't like how it's all white and then the gray in the background, you can change it so it's this black and white color. So I prefer the white just because it's brighter, but you can still click on people and then still make them the beginning of the tree, or still view their person details. Okay. And the last one is descendancy. And that's the circles going down. So you'll notice here on mine, I have my great-grandfather selected, and it's going to show all of his descendants. So here's his wife, and then all of his children. Okay, now you can use this just to see, this is where you're going to be able to easily find all of your great aunts, great uncles, things like that, people that you're not a direct descendant from, but they're still in your family history. Okay, and then another thing you can do, once you're here, you'll notice that there's a button that comes up right here that says generations. This will allow you to decide how many generations you want to go. So if I click 4, then it's going to start with my great-grandfather, and it's going to go down by 4 generations. So you'll see this first set is his kids, and then their spouses, and then grandkids. So here I've got all the way from my great-grandfather, and it goes down all the way to me. Okay, now you can do all this manually. You'll notice that next to any of these pictures, if you look at any of the pictures, like if you look at the picture next to my wife's name right here, there's a little tiny arrow. If you click that arrow, it'll keep going down. So if I click the arrow, then it'll go down another generation, which would be our son. Okay, so you can just keep clicking these down arrows and see how far you can go. So if you want to see what your 5th cousins twice removed are, you can use this to really quickly see them. So I could click on any of these, B, C, I, E, SPSS. Those are the ordinances. So endowment, initiator, baptism. But you'll notice they're different colors. So the gray means that they're done. Blue, I'll show you how to change something. So if the birth information was incorrect and I wanted to change it, I could click on the birth information, and then over here I could click on edit. So I can click on edit here, and then here I can change it to whatever I want. So maybe instead of being born in Centralia, he was born in Tacoma. So once I change it, then the most important thing when you change it is you need to do this. Add a reason why it's correct. Because we don't want random people changing it for no reason at all. You have to have a good reason. So your reason could be something like, I have the birth certificate and it says he was born in Tacoma, not Centralia. That's a great reason. And his uncle was listed. Big deal. When someone broke their arm, you can have a broken arm fact, or you could have a patriarchal blessing fact, or a mission fact. Any sort of fact that you want to add that's not vital information, you can add. So I could click down here at the bottom, custom fact, and then the name could be mission, and then description, served from this date to this date. Okay. So you can add what other information you want to add. And this is where it gets fun. You can add all sorts of things. A lot of times, the only thing you'll see in here is alternate names. I don't know why people just insist on only using it for alternate names. You can use it for so many better things. But this is where you can add all of the really fun details about the person.
Would you also put that in memories?
Okay, the memory section is specifically for photos or stories, documents, or audio. So not necessarily little facts, but yeah, you would put only the things that have to do with memories and memories. And we'll talk about memories next week. Yeah, next week we're talking like, you could add anything for note. Maybe you might want to add, he was adopted. The computer is looking for anybody named Heike, and it's not finding anybody. So I'm looking through, and it's not showing anything that looks good. Now you'll see this big blue bar right here. This one says, notice that maybe there's another spouse that you found that you think might be married to this person, you might add a discussion and say, hey, does anyone else know of this other spouse? I think I found them. Anyone else found them? Or a note. You could say something like, you could add anything for note. Maybe you might want to add, he was adopted when he was age 3, but when he was 5, he moved back to live with his biological father. Something that you can't just add in a fact, something that has to be typed out more. You could add that in the notes section. Okay. So now let's jump up to the top. And now we're going to go and talk about everything on the right side, the smaller boxes on the side. Now, we've touched on record hints before. If you remember, that was the little brown icon that was popping up on your pedigree chart. Now, what this is the computer searching through all of Family Search and finding things for you. So the computer has gone through and searched Family Search for my grandfather, Eddie Anderson, and it's found these 2 records for him. This Find a Grave Index and the United States Public Records Index. Okay, so it's found 2 things. Now from here, I could just click on them and I could see them. And if I liked them, I could click on Review and Attach. And this is what we'll go over in the 3rd class. Okay. Now I'm going to jump to my great-great-grandfather real quick, just to show you this next button. Okay, so I'm on my great-great-grandfather. You'll notice on my great-great-grandfather, it says there are no record hints for them. That means the computer's gone out, searched, and they haven't found anything. Now, if you've already attached all your sources, if you've already reviewed all the record hints and attached them to your sources, and there's nothing left, but you still have gaps, you still want to do more research, this is where you're going to go onto the second box, which is called Research Help. And you're going to click on the Search Records button. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the Search Records button, and I'm going to show you why this is important to look at. Now, if you look at my grandfather's name, his name is Heikki, which is not an average American name because he's not American. He was born in Finland, but he moved to America. And when he moved to America, he changed his name to Harry so he could be American. Okay. So the computer is looking for anybody named Heikki, and it's not finding anybody. So I'm looking through, and it's not showing anything that looks good. Now you'll see this big blue bar right here. This one says, these results probably aren't a match, but you might want to look at them. Now, if I look here, here's a Harry Anderson, and this is him. Even though this says this is probably not a match, this is him. I know it's him because his wife is Edla, and his child is Leonard, which is my great-grandfather. So I know this is him, but the computer doesn't think it's him because the name's different. So the name's Heikki, whereas when he moved to America, he changed his name to Harry. So from here, I know this is him. I could click on it, click on his name, and then here I could go ahead and click the blue button, the blue button that would pop up here. This one is already attached, so it says to view it. But if I haven't attached it, there'll be a big blue button that says review and attach. So this is why it's important to make sure that you're looking at what the computer gives you, and then also using your own eyes to look through it, because the computer's not perfect. It's only going to go so far. One other point of interest, and we'll go over this more, anytime you click on links like that, it's going to open up a new page. So if you look up at the top, I've got a new tab right here that's the search. And this first tab right here is my person page. So if I go ahead and click on this tab, it's going to take me back to my person page. Okay. And like I said, we'll go over all of this more in detail in the third class when we go over some basic research stuff. Okay, so we're back on the person page. The next box is print. And this is where you're going to print all of your regular old family history documents, pedigree charts, family group sheets. The family group sheets is right here under family. That's where you're going to print them all out. Now, you had a question about